Hey everyone and welcome. Today I will be reviewing the ColourPop and Disney Villains Misunderstood palette and walking you through 4 looks I created using it. The Misunderstood palette comes with 15 shades and retails for $22. I think they fully embodied the feel of the Disney villains with this package design. I find it far superior to the Disney Designer Princess collection, and I think this palette as a whole is a lot more creative compared to that one. So this palette came out within a couple of weeks of ColourPop's spring palette called Sweet Talk, and these are the first 2 palettes that they've released that include the Super Shock formula, which if you've never used, it's quite unique. Almost like a cream to powder formula. I would definitely check it out, but by now, who hasn't? The Super Shock shade in this one is right here, and it's called Mongrels. I keep digging my fingers into these. Okay, and it's called Mongrels, and it's just this pretty pinky rose gold shade, and probably the one I use the most out of this palette. So I'm going to jump into the arm swatches. The first one is No Spots, then Mongrels, like I mentioned before, Diablo, Devious, Tragic, Underworld, Pain and Panic, Forest of Thorns, Flotsam, The Fates, Revenge, Sing, Jetsam, Facile, and 101. As you can see, they're very pigmented, and if you're familiar with ColourPop shadows, that's no surprise there, and I find that they are easy to blend and work with. However, especially with the dark bottom row of shimmer shadows, they are a bit crumbly, so there will be fallout. I recommend doing your eye makeup first, and I'm the kind of person that likes to do it last, so it's kind of a change, but I don't find it an inconvenience. It's just out of my normal routine. But if you are someone who does their eye makeup last, keep that in mind. You might have to just prepare for that. Alright, so I'm going to live swatch my favorite shades from the palette for you. Alright, the first one is Mongrel, which is the Super Shock shade, and probably my favorite shade of the whole palette. In almost every look you'll see this is incorporated somehow, and it's just gorgeous. My next favorite shade is Diablo, which is this lime, more so chartreuse color, and it's just, I mean, come on, it's beautiful. And then Pain and Panic, which is this orangey bronze metallic base with like orange glitter particles. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but very pretty. And then last is Forest of Thorns, which is this shimmery purple. So those are my 4 favorites, and of course they're all either metallic or shimmery. And then 2 honorable mentions would be Devious, which is a very warm orangey brown, and Tragic, which is another warm transition shade. And I incorporate all or both or one in pretty much every look. I think you've got the light and the dark. This would be a better transition for darker skin tones. This one works for me because I'm so fair, and then I would use this to deepen up the crease. So here are a few live swatches. What attracted me most to this palette are the first 2 rows. If you cover up the bottom row, here, I'm doing a poor job of that. It's a very wearable selection of shades, especially with the 3 added pops of color. You've got that pink, chartreuse, and kind of cobalt blue. And since that's 2/3 of the palette, I feel that makes it worth the purchase. And those are the first 2 rows consist of shades that I love using all the time. So I I will get a lot of use out of this palette purely because of the top two shades. I was a bit intimidated by the bottom row because of how dark the shades are, especially on my fair skin. I have to be quite careful or it could look like, even with my best blending abilities, it can look a little, it can make me look a little sick or bruised. So I do have to be careful with how I apply these types of shades. And you'll see in a couple of the looks that I did find a good method, which is keeping it to the outer corner. And so when it comes to your complexion and eye shape, you just have to kind of figure out what works best when it comes to these colors. All right, so let's get into these 4 looks I created for you. Oh, and I do want to mention that I primed my eye, for all 4 looks, I primed my eyes with MAC's Paint Pot and Painterly. The first look is what I've been wearing throughout this video, and it's the quickest and easiest one to achieve. I blended Tragic into the crease and actually all over, kind of sloppily. And then with my finger, I put Pain and Panic all over my lid. And then I took Tragic again and blended that onto the lower lash line. And to finish off the look, I used No Spots on the inner corner and as my brow bone highlight. It's very simple, and I think these colors make my green eyes really pop. For the second look, I took a fluffy blending brush and put the shade Devious in the crease. Then I took a flat shader brush to apply Forest of Thorns all over the lid. With a thick shader brush, I put Sing in the outer corner to deepen it up. And then I took a clean duo fibered blending brush to blend everything together. I went back in with my crease shade to bring back some warmth and used my finger to reapply the lid shade to brighten it up some. I also put No Spots in the inner corner and brow bone. Then I took a smudger brush and put Devious on my lower lash line and blended it into the corner to meet the top. I took my blending brush with no extra product to fluff it out, and I then added Forest of Thorns onto the inner half of the bottom lash line. And I fluffed that out. To brighten my inner corner and brow bone, I added Mongrels to give it a little shine, and that completes look 2. For look 3, I started with Devious again on my crease. I took a flat shader brush to apply Flotsam all over the lid and then used my finger to build up the color. I took a flat liner brush and created a smoky wing using the shade Sing. I took that same color on my lower lash line and blended that out, and then I finished off the look with Mongrels in my inner corner and for my brow bone highlight. Look 4 turned out to be my favorite look actually that I created, and I began with Tragic in the crease and all over to help blend the darker colors later on. With a smudger brush, I blended the Fates into the outer corner, and as a side note, my brush was slightly damp from cleaning it, so it appears the shadow is a bit patchy, but I assure you that was complete user error on my part. And then I went in with a couple of different brushes to help blend it out. I then took Diablo with a flat shader brush and put it on the first half of the lid. And to blend those 2 shades together, I put Facile on the outer corner, and I took a bit of Tragic to blend out the crease, as well as the brow bone area. Okay. To combat the darkness of the inner corner, I used No Spots kind of as an eraser. I then used a pencil brush to smudge Facile on the outer half of the bottom lash line. And then I then went over top that with a light wash of Mongrels to add some shine. Overall, I really love and have enjoyed using this palette, and so I definitely recommend it. Especially if these colors speak to you, I think you'll be very satisfied with the looks you can come up with. And that's all I have for you. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know down below in the comments what you think of this palette. good or bad, I just want to know. And don't forget to subscribe to see more content from me, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching.